Hey guys, our Decline here, average picker. Let's talk about tweezers. Okay, so when I started out picking, these were pretty much the tweezers I used. These are also the same tweezers I used to pull ticks off the dog with. I think other people pluck eyebrow hairs with them, and you get splinters out, and basically any household with a junk drawer probably has a pair of these tweezers in them. And they're not bad. They're tweezers, right? And guess what? They are fine. They work just fine. You can get a lot of mileage out of just basic tweezers, a little creative grabbing with them. And you probably never need to get other tweezers. But after I made a couple purchases and watched some videos, I was seeing people using these. And these are pinning tweezers from Sparrows. And I thought, oh yeah, pinning tweezers. That's what I need. I've got to have pinning tweezers. And I mean, I like it. It's fine. I don't think it was a horrible waste. You can see how they're designed. They are designed to grab the pin. And your follower goes in, you just bump that in, catch a little bit in the shear line there, release the tweezers, and of course your pin goes into the chamber. But I was running into some issues with these, especially on challenge locks. I mean, these are fine when you're gripping a big pin like this. But when you're trying to grip something, I should have grabbed some examples. But when you're trying to grip something like a wafer, doesn't really give you anything to work with. The tweezers completely engulf it. And similarly, when you're trying to grip spools, you will end up gripping in the middle of the spool, and the thing sits kind of loose and it tends to flop around in your tweezers the same as it would in a lock core. Again, reduced diameter pins, really tiny T-pins, like all this stuff could be really problematic to grab with these. They're good at grabbing your basic pin. And part of that problem comes in what's happening inside. So you've got your chamber, you run that up against it and you start to release it. But if the pin is really reduced, it ends up, flopping around or something, and you get some tension on, put some pressure on this to push it in, and it all fumbles around. And these are from Sparrows. I'm not knocking them. They're good. They've lasted. They've worked real well. They're what, 10 to 12 bucks a pop. And I also started noticing, especially in some longer locks, I kind of wanted something that was a little hooked. So, I don't know, these were part of a set of 5. I think I paid $4 to $6 maybe for them somewhere, and they're absolute crap. These are the only 2 left that are still even remotely working. The metal is so weak, it actually doesn't pinch very hard. You get a lot more flex in them than you do kind of gripping strength on the end. And these have a similar issue. You can see they tend to close here before they actually close here. Kind of defeats the purpose. So yeah, they're kind of junk. I attempted to turn one into a tool. I actually broke it apart through here, and it was just crap. So if you've watched a few of my videos recently, I keep referring to these as my new favorite tweezers. And I purchased these after seeing I was watching somebody's lockpicking channel, and they were using some that looked like this, and I thought, that's what I need. And I picked this setup off of Amazon. I think I paid like 14 bucks for it. There's no real brand name or anything on it. These are marked ESD10, but that's really the only markings on it. No idea where they're made or anything. For the most part, they are sharp and pointy. They came with a bunch of nice little caps. Got a fair number of them. I was kind of surprised. These are all pretty much the same. ABS 15s. They've got that curve that you sometimes kind of want to hook in with. Let's see, came with another shorter set of the curved ones. Got a set of thicker paddled ones, and I haven't used these yet, but it also came with those. Not sure pinning wise if that's going to be much use, but the point is this cost me $14, where this cost 10 to 12. Much more versatile. I think I am a huge fan of these, and I will show you why. If I can, you can actually grab pretty much everything to work with and set it up as I drop it. Especially, you get pin and pins, reduced stuff, T-pins, spiked pins, your kind of wedding cake pins. Just pretty much grab them all. The one downside is because they're pointed, of course, you're grabbing with less surface area. And so the pin is not quite as stable as what it might otherwise be. And so if you're going in and you're kind of missing the chamber, see what could happen? It's real easy in some cases to get that pin a little bit cockeyed. But honestly, not too terrible or difficult to deal with. And there's a whole set of them, and they're lovely. They're decent metal. They're not bendy or flexy, like these guys are. I mean, these guys they're about to fall apart. Yeah. But yeah, for the money, they were quite lovely. And I'm just using them more and more and more, and I'm using these less and less and less. Now, I will note these do springs better than these guys for the reasons that you can see with those tips. Though I've not tried some of these flatter ones, but this does really well with the springs, and it does really well with most basic pins. But and with so many, I can actually keep another set in where I do or I can keep a few of them in where I do my challenge lock builds. So it's kind of nice, almost the same money as this one pair, and much more versatile, I think. So where does this leave us? I try to dole out advice for the starting picker, especially for the picker on a budget. Do you really need pinning tweezers? You know what? If you've got a decent, okay pair of tweezers at home, they're going to work fine for you. No, you don't need pinning. No, you don't need pinning tweezers. They're sort of nice to have, but you know what? At 10 to 12 bucks, and you're just starting out, and you're on that tight of a budget, no, use something you've got laying around the house, and use that $10 or $12 to buy another lock with to practice on. Because that's what you need. You need locks to practice on when you're starting out. You don't really need tweezers. And I would dare say when you're ready and you're going, okay, I'm ready to get rid of my sister's eyebrow tweezers now, or I'm tired of brushing the dead ticks off of my tweezers before I then use them on a lock. It's time to make that purchase. I would really think of just spending a few extra bucks and going with a set like this. I think you're going to get much more versatile for grabbing all the different pin types you're going to be then starting to run into, especially at that point you're probably going into challenge locks and stuff anyway. But yeah, I mean, and I'm not trying to diss pinning tweezers. They're fine. Just when I started out, I thought, yeah, you gotta have these, and they do save me a little bit of a hassle, but not as much as putting the money into that pair has done. Went much further there than it went with that. And these were just a complete and utter waste of whatever it was I spent on them. what few dollars it was. You know, and I pulled these off of my challenge lock table. So when I kind of retired it from over here, they are still in use, and still get a little bit of use. But now that with a big set like this, you can kind of split it up. If you work like me, where you're doing builds on a different location, you know, back room is where I do my challenge lock building, front room's where I do the picking. You know, you've got enough in there to split it up and do multiple duty everywhere, and only a couple dollars more than a single set of pitting tweezers. Though, like I said, these don't grab springs, or these grab springs much nicer. Though I bet if I went and used one of those slightly fatter tipped ones, it would probably be just as good. So yeah, if you're thinking, oh, I've got to have pitting tweezers, no, you really don't. You know, put that money into something else. You know, buy some more picks, buy another lock. So there we go. Very meandery, brief little ramble about tweezers. All right, guys. See you later.